Hi everybody, it's me, Jaxson, down here in the corner. This video is me explaining the fourth AI generated album that I've made and uploaded to this channel. Uh, if you're not into AI generated stuff, I totally get it. You're free to go. If you want to listen to it, it's this one right here. It's called Wonderflonium Bounced. It is a playlist on this very channel. I realized in testing and setting up my old camera and my old OBS that I can't play the songs because it's entirely possible that YouTube will flag the video and take it down or won't let me upload it. And also I can't get my settings right on my mic. So I'd have to mute my mic and unmute the thing to hear the thing. So you're going to have to listen to the musical part of this musical album on your own. So get wrecked, I guess. So I'm going to explain hopefully everything. I know I'm going to forget something and come back to this video and be like, oh, I wish I didn't forget that thing. It's so important to me and no one else, because that's what this is. So for the last year, a little over, or I guess not quite a year yet, because it would have been in April, I think. I've been using AI to make music for myself, not commercial, not whatever, just seeing what it can do. And I have found it to be extremely useful in many different ways. And I really like certain parts of AI a lot, right? A lot of it, I don't want to get into the whole context of everything, but just to justify my own existence, like I called this album Wonderflonium Bounced, which is right there. Wonderflonium Bounced, because it is Wonderflonium that I have stolen from someone else. You're not supposed to bounce Wonderflonium. And if you don't get that reference, that's a Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. He needs the Wonderflonium to fix his freeze ray. And so on the case of the Wonderflonium, it says, do not bounce. But I have bounced this Wonderflonium because, I don't possess enough musical talent to make my own musical ideas, which I've found to be one of the most frustrating things in the world over the last couple of years. But AI has finally allowed me to express these stories and these feelings and thoughts and ideas. And I don't want to get into too much of, talking about history and channel and, I haven't uploaded anything to this channel in a long, long time other than just random stuff that I've made. I haven't done normal video blogs and that kind of thing. So I don't want to get into all of that because that would be just hours long. This is a focused video about explaining AI music. So I have found that I use AI music as like a form of journaling. So in talking with my therapist and my psychiatrist and my sleep specialist and my other sleep specialist, and on, this is one of the ways that I emotionally process things and come up with, creative expression. And so I'm going to share that stuff with you guys right now. Also, my camera is too high up. I don't know if you could tell, but the angle's all screwy and I have to keep looking up to, anyway, been a long time since I've sat in front of a camera and talked. So, again, I can't let you hear the music, so we're just going to essentially go over the lyrics and the story and all of that kind of stuff expressed through the music, right? So, AI automatically is trained on a bunch of stuff that is essentially stolen from everywhere in the world, and it compiles it into stuff. So, when I'm making an AI song, I think of it like I'm commissioning somebody to take my ideas and offer them back to me in some way. And I have a bunch of stuff over on this little quarter of the monitor here. This is the AI software that I use, the lyrics that I wrote, is with some of the instructions to try and inform the AI what to do. And since AI is already, essentially just stealing from everyone in the world, I kind of, on this fourth one, went out of my way to find old video game music that I genuinely love, that I wanted to turn into other songs or like write lyrics to in the same sort of way that like Brentalfloss used to do that kind of stuff. Like, so sort of in that vein or spirit, like writing lyrics to old video game songs. But I didn't want like any one person in the world to know every single song, although, you know, sure somebody did. So they're vague and like hard to find, and ones that are not popular or famous or whatever. And so like even my friends in my own life who I know have played like many or most of all of these games, like weren't able to put together like, oh, that's from this game and that one comes next. And, you know, so I'm going to explain all that. So I guess just here we go, right? First song is from the Ultra Games Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Overworld soundtrack on the original NES. So that's what I fed into the AI. You can see it right there, extended from, you know, this little file I uploaded. This is probably the weakest and, in my opinion, least satisfying lyrically, but it does exactly what I want in this part of like opening the album. The first song, absolute banger. I mean, all of them are like 11 out of 10 in my book. That's why I picked all these songs, and I have a list of the ones that I cut, which I might be able to find quickly over here. Let me see if I... Yeah, so here, I've got that list now here. So, yeah, lyrically, this is probably the weakest song, but it has the right tone. The lyrics are the only one that like matches the tone. In my head, my brain tells me that everything that I write is a tragedy, even if I don't necessarily intend it to be. So I've always loved the juxtaposition of like happy sound, happy music, and then like the lyrics will be like sad or devastating or whatever else. Or if the music is really sad and devastating, then the lyrics are usually very like happy and bright and colorful. And so this is one of the only examples that like isn't that way. It's like a happy, really groovy song. It's upbeat, bouncing around, and then the lyrics are, "It's so good, it's so great that you chose to stay with me. It's so fun, it's wonderful that you're mine, I am yours. In a dream is where I walk around with you. I'm so happy, I hope I never wake up." And then, you know, not to be too many spoilers, if you haven't listened to it yet at this point, like, that's on you. But yeah, the rest of the album is him waking up from his happy dream. You know, in a dream is where I walk around with you. I'm so happy, I hope I never wake up. But of course you do wake up. That's like the whole, you know, that's what defines a dream, right? Is that you wake up out of it. There's also going to be a ton of echoing themes to sort of highlight the like overall story and everything else. So this is where we get our first walk. Yeah, so in a dream is where I walk around with you. I'm so happy, I hope I never wake up. And then the rest of the album is him waking up and being emotionally devastated by all the stuff that happens. So like seaweed, you've got my heart in tangles, this gap I can't quite traverse. So you got another echoing and repeating theme. You got tangles of seaweed. You've got him talking about his own heart, which is going to be, you know, dramatic and important to the story. Seaweed, you know, very clearly and obviously, at least to me. And again, all of this is spoilers. So if you haven't listened to the album yet, and you know, if you're ever going to do it before you watch this video, because come up with your own story. That's part of the reason why I'm so like scatterbrained and conflicted right now, is that I know that like as an artist, you're not supposed to like explain your art. It's like once you've published it to the world, then it's, you know, up to everybody's interpretation of like what they want to do. And like I have sort of found and changed the story even after it's been published like a bunch of different times, just because I'll make connections to things that I didn't necessarily intend to and be like, oh, that's so cool, but like, anyway. So anyway, this is my, interpretation of my own art, but in some ways I am, very responsible for it because it wouldn't exist if I didn't make it. But in other ways, I'm not responsible for it at all because I commissioned an AI and was like, yes, this, no, that, yes, this, I like this, move these around, but it's still like I didn't make part of it. So it's hard to feel ownership over it. So like I'm also critiquing it as like a fan. Like I've listened to this album probably twice a day, every day, since I finished uploading it on a month ago, on January 9th. Oh, I'm in the way. Here, January 9th. I seriously just listen to it all the time. I love it so much. And so like that's part of why I want to share it and express and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, back to the explanation. Seaweed is a clear and obvious like emotional distress, right? It's like heart entangles, like he's still feeling good about it, but like this is not a healthy, wholesome relationship. This is sort of a celebration of the toxic like codependency that is so like fun and pleasurable to like let yourself just become involved in until you're stuck with somebody else. And so the seaweed is definitely like the emotional tendrils that wraps around the guy's heart. The gap I can't quite traverse is something that will come back many times throughout the album, which is the distance between where he feels his heart is and the partner's heart. Their relationship has this big gap in between their like stages of life and stages of development. And also, there's like 4 layers of things that are in every song, because it's not just like the obvious lyrics. It's not the differentiation between the sound being happy and the lyrics being sad. It's not just that there's an overall story of something that actually happens that's like plot points in a row. It's also video game references constantly. So the seaweed is from the Ninja Turtles game. The name of the song is Concrete Dam, which is based on the second level, which nobody could ever get past in this old Nintendo game, this old NES game, because there's freaking seaweed that comes up and you touch it and it hurts you. It's like, why is there electric seaweed underneath this dam? It doesn't make any sense. And like there's water that pushes you back and forth, but nobody understands that because there's no visual or audio representation. Your character just like swims slower sometimes. And then the gap I can't quite traverse because there's a famous gap in the jump in the Ninja Turtles game in the very first level, where the trick is that you're supposed to just walk over it, but every time you try and jump, you will fall in every time. And so yeah, that's partly why I wanted to explain all this, because like to me, I still find so much delight in reliving not just the nostalgia of all these old video games, but I think they also sound really cool, and like turning it into something, and the overarching story and everything else. So yeah, another echo. There's the first actual echo, I think, is heart in this line, and then heart opening the next line. Like my heart beating hard, right? Because he's like falling in love, and it's got that rush and flush of all the enjoyable dopamine and new relationship experience. Like, I'm so glad you chose to stay with me. You're mine, I am yours. Right? Like my heart beating hard, I still have these old scars and soul to nurse. Right? Trying to find rhymes lyrically to get AI to do what you want it to is also like a technical skill that I've essentially developed on accident over the last year. But yeah, so, the main character, the protagonist, has old scars and an old beat up soul that he's still nursing. from past relationships because he's, sucky at relationships. Like he falls into that codependency that I've talked about a bunch of different times already. I want you to save me from these daggers so I can save you from being alone. Save me from these daggers is a reference to the Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. It is also the sort of self daggers, self harm scars of him not being able to like emotionally process his past relationships, and then saving, like, I want to save you from being alone is such a loaded statement to me. I really enjoy it, especially in the context of this song, where it's like anybody can save anybody from being alone just by being with them, right? And so it's like he's just afraid of being alone. I want you to save me from these daggers so I can save you from being alone. Like, I want you to essentially fix all my problems for me. Like, teach me how to not be codependent, but allow me to be codependent. Nurse my soul for me, and then I'll just be with you. It'll be great, right? I want you to accept me from my green hues. This is actually a typo, and it irks me to no end. This is supposed to be I think. I want you to accept me of my green hues. It's funny, I've listened to it. Now I can't remember exactly. I think it is supposed to be of. I want you to accept me of my green hues so I can have you despite all your ooze. So he even recognizes that, so this is like a quadruple pun again, where he's talking about his green hues, his emotional envy, being green, wanting not just the person, but also to be in a relationship, even though he's unprepared for it. And he even recognizes that. So I can have you despite all your ooze, right? Despite all the problems, despite all the emotional conflict that I know is going to be coming because, I've got all these old scars and this old soul to nurse. And then again, green, because they're Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles are green. And ooze is the mutant ooze that turns the turtles into mutants and then gives them a lifespan long enough for them to become teenagers. Actually, turtles live a long time. I was trying to work the title into jokes. I shouldn't do that. No freestyling. But yeah, so I want you to accept me of my green hues so I can have you despite all your ooze, despite all the problems, despite all of your, immaturities and everything else that you've got going on. And if I were a better audio producer, this would go directly, like, how songs on concept albums, like, will just go from one to the other with, like, no break in between. That would do that on this if I were a better audio producer. But so, the next song on the list. Sorry. My Head. Also, all of them have 2 words. Like, so this is the playlist, right? So it tells the story just by, maybe I should go through that before we listen to it. But so we start with Concrete Dam, we go with My Head, into Dirt Serpent, Somewhere Else, Wretched Dust, again, the only song on the album with 1 word in the title instead of 2. Shit Pipe, it's probably the first and only time anyone's ever heard me say that word, but here we are. Our Ocean, Eternal Cavern, Endless Mind, Soft Sad, Again. So the order of all these is important as well. But so yeah, on to My Head, which is Flimbo's Quest. So this is just the music from Flimbo's Quest. This is, I think, the only video game on this list. No, I think there's 2 that I didn't actually play, and I just know of because of the music. Like, I will listen to Flimbo's Quest It was kind of a meme for a while. I know there's like a famous edit of Flimbo's Quest song. Like this song in particular is like smashed up against System of a Down. And so you might recognize it from that. If not, that's a thing you can look up. But so Flimbo's Quest is in many ways responsible for this entire album, because this was one of the first ones that I fed, last September 12th, into the AI to just try it and like see what it's about. And this, super happy, bright old video game chiptune song was paired with, the emotional distress of the lyrics that I wrote to be, in conflict with that, and sort of set the emotional tone for the entire album and for the entire story. But so also it's like the least responsible because I didn't play it as a kid. I don't have any nostalgia for it or anything, but it's also like the most responsible song for the entire album. Yeah, I still wish I could play these in this video describing it, but anyway, just directly into the lyrics. I understand that you're talking to me. I just can't get my brain to care. You're so boring that I'm starting to stare into the middle distance again. That's the opening line to this song. Super happy, bouncy, catchy chiptune. And then the lyrics are just devastating, right? In an argument with somebody, in a talk with somebody, at this point, the conflict has been so frequent and common that he's bored of the conflict itself. Like she's talking to him and he's just spacing out, just ADHD brain everywhere else. Just, you're so boring that I'm starting to stare into the middle distance again. And then the song is, these are the sounds that go on in my head every single time you open your mouth. Right? These are the dreams that make me wish I were dead. Remember he's talking about dreams in the last one? In a dream is where I walk around with you. I'm so happy I hope I never wake up. These are the dreams that make me wish I were dead. Every single time I'm just running about. Just running ADHD brain through his head. Just bum bum bum. I can't think about the way that I think. I can't care about the things that you want. I don't care about the way that I am. I only care about dolphins and sharks. Which, again, probably a weak line as far as like lyricism. And then I have somebody just go, what? Like part of the argument or part of the thing. But also it's supposed to be like a kid's song in my head. Just because Flimbo's Quest is such a goofy, happy, like children's sounding song. The verse 4 is just gibberish. Do shabba dooba dingly dong, go goob gab gab ga shandalee ding, so nooba gabba gabba dip dangalee dung, shoo shabba shuba shibba lee shong. I was trying to get the AI to actually follow the melody with gibberish, but that's never going to work. You've tried to play with AI stuff for any length of time. Yeah, so the last song is he's just like, I don't care about you, think about other stuff, blah, 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 and just, emotionally detached, not engaged with the rest of the conversation. Not a ton of puns and like extra layers because I don't actually know the Flimbo's Quest game at all. I've never played it. I've never seen footage of it. I just know the music. But yeah, we keep with the ocean theme. There is a very intentional ocean theme throughout the entire, water and liquids and seaweed and a dam already. And then dolphins and sharks. I just wanted something that was a non sequitur that had an ah sound. I can't care about the things that you want. I only care about dolphins and sharks. Again, not the greatest lyrics, but Anyway, that will lead us into song number 3. The Dirt Serpent. Dirt Serpent is the sounds from, where is my footage? There we go. Time Splitters 2. A game that I only ever played because one of my friends rented, and there is a like hidden multiplayer minigame mode where you can play like old arcade games. And so they had this old version of Snake, you know, Snake, where you eat the, like, you know, just a square, and you eat the square and then you get a little bit longer and you try not to run into yourself. It's competitive 4-player Snake called Anaconda. And you're, you know, trying to get points and trying to get as long as possible, but also not die, by running into not just your tail, but also the tail of the other 3 players, similar to like Tron light cycle stuff. Super fun. My friend's parents just got like a really nice sound system. This was like right when, you know, PlayStation 2, you can see on the screen here. That was right when DVDs came out. So we had like, you know, really nice audios or whatever. And my friend brought that game over to my other friend's house, and all my other friends were like there, and we all played this like Anaconda thing together. And I had the speaker like right here because we were all just piled in a bunch of chairs. And so this song just blasted in my ear for hours on loop. It's only a minute, and was, you know, on YouTube it says it's a minute 49. And so it just just in my ear. But I love the song. Something about it is absolutely like enchanting and amazing to me. So inspired by Anaconda, fitting it into my story, which, you know, I'll go through the whole thing all at once at the end of the album and everything. But so we have the Dirt Serpent. Yeah, into the lyrics we go. If we ever fight, I hope we never fight like we did last night. I'll never sleep a wink. Inspired much by my own life, as this entire album is. I like the play of the lyrics here. It's like, if we ever fight, I hope we never fight like we did last night. It's like, I hope we never fight, but we, you know, it's like, I hope we never fight again, but we're already like on the you know, aftermath of being in a big fight last night, to the point where I'll never be able to sleep again. Which I don't want to go into too much detail about all my sleep stuff, because I'm currently undergoing actigraphy. I have to wear this thing for a month so they can diagnose me with things. Yeah, I'll never sleep a wink. I hope we never fight. But, you know, we fought last night. We're still on the tail end of the aftermath of a big fight, emotionally conflicted. This is actually a line inspired by my mom, which I think is an old nursery rhyme or something. When I was a little kid, back before we knew I had sleep disorders and a bunch of other stuff going on, she would play the Sandman game, where she would have like a little magical Sandman person, and you'd be laying in bed with your eyes closed. I love those like old bed games where you like draw on each other's backs, and like my brother and I used to do that when we shared a bed for a lot of my youth. We were poor. But my mom would have this story about the Sandman who'd come out, and then she'd very lightly just brush your eyelashes, just to where you can just barely feel. I mean, you can clearly feel that something is touching your eyelashes because they're so sensitive, but you just do that back and forth, and it's like, oh, the Sandman's putting like the dream powder in your eyes, and now your eyes are closed, and you're gonna drift off to sleep and have happy dreams and all that kind of stuff. So this set of lyrics is based on that, right? Big emotional fight. If only there were a dream powder I could dust across my eyes, I'd never slap a twink. Which, this is maybe another non sequitur line. It rhymes with this one, and it made me laugh, and I never changed it. I don't necessarily place it anywhere inside. Like, maybe, you know, maybe this one is just pure, I needed something to rhyme. Uh, but it made me laugh, and I left it in, and to hear the music with it, works super well. And but it's also true. I'd never slap a twink. Um, Anyways, we come back into the emotional. It's talking about its heart again. Don't jump upon my heart. I'm not sure that it can take it. Don't sleep with the anaconda. I know that you can't take it. Um, Originally, this was just obvious and like dumb as like a big penis joke where it's like, don't sleep with the anaconda. I know that you can't take it. Like, the penis is too large for you. It'll, cause issue because it's so large. Um, that's kind of originally just how I wrote it when I was just like writing, the lyrics out and getting the idea down. But it's sort of taken on a much more like sort of intentional, not intentional, like it's taken on sort of a life of its own. Like it has a much, kind of deeper meaning when it's like, uh, when it was literally just meant to be like a sex joke initially to like fill the page so I could keep working and, move past that part or whatever. Um, it reminds me a lot of like The Lion Sleeps Tonight, a Weemboep, where it's like, don't sleep with the anaconda. That's like not a good idea. But whereas the anaconda is just like a giant snake that like will slowly strangle you. Um, it doesn't have a particular meaning. Like I didn't write it to have a meaning, but I love the way that it feels and I love the way that it sounds. Um, so yeah, don't sleep with the anaconda. I know that you can't take it. Um, anaconda, not exactly an ocean creature either, but um, also inspired into the song of the dirt serpent. Here we have the first of, I don't know what to call these, just like quad rhymes or whatever. This was the first one that I wrote, and I ended up liking uh, just the way that it felt and like the sort of like auditory uh like stim this auditory stimulant of having just a bunch of stuff rhyme in a row where it's like one, two, three, and then a different word, but all of them uh rolling together. Bedding down the feather down, rolling down the cyber clown. um Again, this maybe, I was saying lyrically, Concrete Dam is probably the weakest lyrics, just because they're so like it's so great, it's so good. I'm glad that you stayed with me. Like that's the first. It's so good. I'm so great. You chose. It's like that. What even is that? It's so fun. It's wonderful that you're mine. It's like okay, whatever. This one is maybe just like poetry, like what do they call it? Like just stream of consciousness. I was just like going crazy writing stuff and then ended up keeping a bunch of like the weird stuff, like don't sleep with the anaconda. Bedding down the feather down, it was literally meant to be like another like sex joke. Like bedding down the feather down is like laying, in the bedding, feather down pillows. Like that's sort of the imagery I was trying to evoke. Rolling down the cyber clown was uh um maybe just a different it wasn't intentionally. I'm thinking my brain might have just offered it up as another like penis joke when I was writing it, because there's an old Saturday Night Live sketch with like Chris Parnell that's like a law firm, and he's like, by the time we got on this internet thing, like there weren't any good, domain names left, so please join our law firm at clownpenis.fart. Um, so maybe a cyber clown, maybe that worked its way in there. But I just love the way that that rolled together. Bedding down the feather down, rolling down the cyber clown. Underneath the wretched dust, my heart full to bursting. Um, the wretched dust, that comes up again later. There's even a song called Wretched Dust. is much more explicit into the overarching story of what happens to this poor fellow and his bad relationships. He's talking about his heart again. Still conflicted with, like, happy and sad of codependent relationships, being feeling real good when you're in them, but also feeling real bad when you're in them, and feeling real good when you're out of them, and also feeling real bad when you're out of them. My heart full to bursting. I don't know that I want to get into these last lines to be too specific, just because they are, this is kind of just me going through some stuff that is related to the emotional part of the story, which is why I left it in lyrically. But yeah, I don't know how specific I want to get into this, where it's like I'll just read the lyrics and, I don't know, leave that one for you to decide what you want to do with. The only ladies of the night will never turn their faces. Hunters fight with dirt again and never leave their traces. Bold salvation is here for me, but never for the ones who need their diapers changed and fight with dirt again. Then there's a bunch of gibberish for the AI to get it to do what I wanted it to, and then those lines again. But yeah, I will say that this is sort of taken on and fight with dirt again. The hunters fight with dirt again. That's another echo word. Again shows up a crap ton in the lyrics. There's even a song called Again, and another song called Again Again. So hunters fight with dirt again, right? There's another reference to dirt, which is another common echo theme. But yeah, so fighting with dirt again is like politicians fight. They get dirt on each other and try and like fight to do bad things to innocent people. On to the next one. Next one is called Somewhere Else. Somewhere Else. So this game is called Mule. So this is the other one that I've never played, and I only know because of the music. I also really like it when AI hallucinates, the terminology for when AI just kind of like doesn't follow your direction or programming or whatever. It just kind of does its own like thing. This song does that in a way that was like, beautiful, chef's kiss, perfect. Like, it's even better than what I wanted it to be. And I absolutely love the way that it turned out, especially as the fourth track in the album. After it fills the spot perfectly. Again, like I said, I'm super love this album. Every song to me is like an 11 out of 10. And I just, gushing about my own work, so maybe I'm just a big douchebag, but here we are, going on this walk again, right? Walk and again, two more of the echo themes. Walking down the same paths of conversation, right? Back in my head, we have him talking about, whoops, didn't mean to click that. Back in my head is talking about, like, I understand that you're talking to me, I can't get my brain to care, right? You're so boring. I'm starting to stare in the middle of this again. We're walking down the same paths of conversation, right? These are more fights, more, emotional conflict, lack of processing, lack of communication. I'm never sure just where you are, but I'm sure I want to be somewhere else, right? This is the decision that they make to, in his own mind, it's like, I'm done with this. It's time to call it off. It's time to break up. It's time for, this to end. And so that's literally all I wrote. And then sometimes it's fun to do that with the AI because it will offer you things, or it will like try and fill in the space. In the exact same way that I like to also leave gaps in stuff for like other people's mind, or like when I listen to it again, be like, oh, like your mind will kind of just fill in things that are missing. And so the AI also like tries to do that, and it's like super cool. But so somewhere else, definitely goes somewhere else. So it starts, you know, based on mule, and then the AI freaks out like halfway through in a way that is like super acoustically stimulating and like ear candy, and then it just turns into a whole different song and goes to a different place, and it so perfectly matches my themes of walking and walking again and dirt and dust and dirt paths and walking dusty dirt paths and walking the same conversations. And here we are going on this walk again, walking down the same paths of conversation. I want to be somewhere else. The song goes somewhere else. And then also the AI wigs out in a way that I absolutely love also, where it just skips the word some. And then changes the entire meaning of, because when that's missing, that becomes where else? Where else would I go but here? Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it a lot. It's really good. On to track number 5, Wretched Dust. Whoops. Thing needs to stop jumping around a bit. Wretched Dust. The file select music from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. One of my all-time favorite songs, just period. Also, a friend of mine and I who make AI songs back and forth, send each other stuff constantly all the time, told me I was not allowed to make this song into one of my AI songs because he had called dibs on it, because I did that with what turned out to be Endless Mine in a way that I feel like kind of stole something from him, even though I made this one for him. I think he's kind of over it now, but I had already like begun working on this when he told me that he had called dibs, and I was like, about that. So here we are on the 5th track of the album, called Wretched Dust. You're long gone. Let me be curt. I can't keep up. My feet hurt. Like the ocean wide, I'm so far behind. I can't trudge through oily ink. I can't swim. I only sink. Right. There's a lot going on here. I don't know exactly where to start, so maybe I'll just start with the obvious, like, pun Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. So Sonic can't swim, he only sinks, right? That's like one of the big things about Sonic the Hedgehog, is that all the water levels, he has to walk along the bottom of whatever surface. Unless he's going fast enough, he can skim along the surface. And then if you go underwater, you get the dun 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 blah 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 blah, whatever, you know, he drowns. That's, if you ever need to wake up for something important like an airline flight or something, make that your alarm, and you will wake up with freaking a heart attack, heart palpitations, and an adrenaline burst that will make you feel sick and give you diarrhea later that day. Yeah, oily ink is also a reference to Sonic the Hedgehog, because he can't trudge through oily ink. There's a level, there's, you know, Oil Ocean, and I forget the name of the one in Sonic 3 that is like Oil Ocean, where you actually like get, you know, you have to like jump to like go up through the goo or whatever. Going backwards through this little verse, I'm so far behind, right? That's the same reference as a concrete dam, right? The gap I can't quite traverse, being the distance of how far apart their hearts have become in the emotional like context of their relationship. Like the ocean wide, I'm so far behind. You're long gone, just like mentally, emotionally, but also in this case, at this point in the song, literally, right? Like they've broken up. But he still keeps wanting to chase that idea of the relationship, But he can't keep up anymore. He's tired of running. His feet hurt, which I also just thought was a hilarious thing to put in a song from Sonic the Hedgehog, who just runs all the time and is the fastest hedgehog because he just runs. But he can't run anymore. His feet hurt. Yeah. So, yeah, you're long gone. I can't keep up. And then the whole theme of the song, The Wretched Dust, is that, when someone passes you on a dirt path, they kick up a big dust dirt trail and you're just like, trying to swim through the dust. So you've left me in your dust. Again, dust and dirt being one of the major echo themes that shows up in like every song a couple times. Also the ocean wide being the obvious ocean theme with the serpents and seaweed and dams and all the other stuff we've already talked about. You can't hurt me if I'm far enough from you. I can't breathe through your wall of dirt. I did my best to follow your path true. I can't run anymore. My feet hurt. You can't hurt me if I'm far enough from you is just a false statement that I think works super well in the context of not just the story, but also, kind of a wink and nod to Sonic the Hedgehog if, you're trying to outrun something. And then in the context of the overall story, their relationship, if you break up and separate, it's like, oh, you can't hurt me, we're separated. And it's like, that's just a lie. Like people could definitely hurt you. You could definitely hurt yourself on like their behalf, like holding on to something that's toxic or whatever. I can't breathe through your wall of dirt, not being able to breathe, more underwater ocean type themes. Again, I already talked about the wall of dirt when somebody passes you on a dirt path and it kicks up a bunch of dust. And it's like, someone passes by you on a car or on a bike or something, they kick up a bunch of dust in your face and it's hard to breathe through that. But he's still, chasing them. He just can't keep up anymore. Right. And then here we have our it's already been a little while. 47 minutes. Holy cow, this is going to be a long freaking video. Wrapped up on the beach, tangled in emerald seaweed, drained by my horse leech, I still refuse to concede. The sunset lets the darkness overwhelm me. You've left me in the dust, and all I want is to be free. Another great set of words, in my opinion. I'm really happy with the way that these ones turned out. Wrapped up on the beach, tangled in emerald seaweed, right? You got emeralds, another reference to Sonic the Hedgehog. We got emerald seaweed, the dark green colors of envy that we've already talked about with the Ninja Turtles. We got seaweed being the emotional tendrils of a toxic relationship, an emotional state. I think this is the first mention of the beach, which will show up many times again throughout the rest of the album. I still refuse to concede, right? He's still going to chase. You left me in the dust, and all I want is to be free. I don't want to be on this chase anymore. I just want to be free from you. I want to be free from my thoughts and my anxieties. I want to be free. Whether that means we get together and everything works out or we stay apart and, I emotionally develop and level up and move on. Either one is fine. I just want to be free, right? Drained by my horse leech. This was just something I wanted. I just wanted a word that rhymed with beach that wasn't, beseech or something. So I dug around and found what is a horse leech? And it was like, wrapped up on the beach, tangled in emerald seaweed, emotionally stunted, laying on the water. Horse leech. Images of a horse leech. They look like this. It's a big gross leech. Keeping with the ocean themes. But yeah, so we got big gross leeches that are draining you of all of your blood and, making it hard to get up off the beach, untangle yourself from the seaweed. In some ways, I think of this as like literal. Like at this point in the story, like the dude might actually be laying on the beach, just like having given up, like not even flicking the leeches off of him and just like wrapped up in seaweed and just like doesn't care about his own life, whatever, just laying there until the sunset goes down and then it just is dark, laying on the beach, wrapped up in seaweed. This is our first mind in this little piece, which will be another major echo theme, which again will be a Sonic the Hedgehog reference where a mine shaft or like a mine, I just use the word mind instead to have like literal double meanings a bunch of different times because I like the way that that builds the emotional content of the story. The crashing ocean waves let my mind drift away. The sound is like an avalanche of pinball machines, a garden of marbles bouncing around all day. But all that I want is to be free. Right? Crashing ocean waves. Ocean waves are loud AF. People don't seem to realize like how loud they are, but if you're actually on the beach, like you can't hear people talking to you. Like it's as loud as being in like a club or something, depending on, how big the crashing ocean waves are. Letting his mind drift away. The sound is like an avalanche of pinball machines, right? Another Sonic reference. A garden of marbles, another Sonic reference. Yeah, there's a level called Marble Garden, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog things. I try and work it into stuff all the time. But yeah, so like a garden of marbles, an avalanche of pinball machines, because the little steel balls and marbles would just, be strewn all about if there's an avalanche of pinball machines. I really like that imagery as well. And also it's supposed to be loud AF, like crashing ocean waves. So it all works perfectly, in my opinion. But all that I want is to be free, right? So he keeps kind of coming back to himself, like listening to the ocean and kind of drifting away for a little bit and then coming back and just being like, I just want to be free of this. I don't want to be here anymore. We try again, right? That's the first time we understand that these people are trying their relationship again. I'll try not to make a fuss. I don't think we'll work it out. You've left me in your dust. Right? That is the first sort of reference to them trying again and not being able to work it out. Right? I don't think we'll work it out. You've left me in your dust. Like our hearts are still an ocean apart, right? You're still so far up this dirt path that I can't even see you. I'm just covered in your dust trying to keep up with you as you're maturing and growing and moving on with your life. And then just the more junk to try and make the AI make it do what I want it to. And then that line again, you can't hurt me if I'm far enough from you. I can't breathe through your wall of dirt. I did my best to follow your path true. I can't run anymore. My feet hurt. Which takes us to again. Maybe my favorite album or my favorite song on the entire album. It's so hard for me to pick because I love all of them, but this one turned out so perfectly, beautifully that I listened to it over and over again. I listen to it all the time. I absolutely love the way that it turned out, and the AI actually offered up two versions that were like so perfectly what I wanted that I couldn't pick between two of them, and so ultimately ended up adding them both. That's this one. So again is kind of the happier sounding version, and again is like the sort of more minor, sadder sounding version of the same lyrics, but also it works so perfectly in the story and the emotional content of like, the kind of ups and downs that I wanted to have throughout the album. So here we are. I wish I could see your face again, just one last time again, so I could remember why I thought we'd never be apart. Spoiler alert, 55 minutes into this video. This is the beginning of the album. So here we are, song number 6 of a 12 track album. Everything else leading up to this point is memories in the context of the overarching story. Again, is the first song of the album where we actually like sort of catch up to the protagonist, where he finds himself walking along the beach where where she had caught up to him. They tried to fix their relationship. They tried again. It didn't work out. He finds himself on the beach, sometime later, just remembering all this stuff. And this is the beginning of the album. Now we've caught up. I wish I could see your face again, just one last time, again, so I could remember why I thought we'd never be apart. If only there weren't a strain again, just one more time, again, so I might think of a reason you'd break my heart. I don't really think I need to explain that. It doesn't have anything to do with Mario Party, but it just has the perfect emotional tone. Once, I think there was a once on, not Inside, somewhere else? No? Can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. Once we used to wander together through the fields of hope and curiosity. Again, I hold my head in my hands and simply try to breathe out the dust you've left me covered in again. Yeah, it's clearly suffering, walking along the beach, remembering all the relationship stuff that we just went through for the last 55 minutes. Beating himself up by forcing himself to remember and relive those memories over and over again, right? They say, I can't remember who, it might be a Buddhist thing or something, but it's like you have a hurt that happens and then you'll emotionally hurt yourself again by remembering it, and then you'll hurt yourself again by reliving it, and then you'll hurt yourself again by remembering you reliving it, and just like, I can't remember exactly. There's the two arrows. There's the arrow that you took, and then the arrow that you deal to yourself by remembering, like, beating yourself up about taking the first arrow. That kind of stuff. I really love the way that the AI read it in the way that I kind of had it written as a poem, where you can stop some of the lines partway through and it changes the meaning. I hold my head in my hands, right? That's just something that you can do. And simply try to breathe, right? Hold my head in my hands and simply try to breathe. It's like you're having a panic attack, right? Hold my head in my hands and simply try to breathe out the dust you've left me covered in, right? Pulling it back to the theme of the dust and dirt path. That leads to the beach and the ocean between their hearts. Yeah. So this is the only time that they talk about fields, I'm pretty sure. Just like the big green verdant fields, like not paths of dirt and dust. Like we used to wander together through the fields of hope and curiosity. I don't know if that's ever actually true, because even in Concrete Dam, he's talking about he's got his heart in tangles, but there's still a gap I can't quite traverse. Heart beating hard, still have these old scars to nurse. Save me from these daggers so I can save you from being alone. It's like, I don't think they ever really did walk through the fields of hope and curiosity. I think you're just remembering it in a way that is, rose-colored memory glasses or whatever. To be without you again, you'll fail without me again. 2 leaves fall too again. I'll sail without you again and again and again and again and again and again. Yeah, pretty brutal lyrics, I feel like. I have something in my glasses. I keep seeing something right here. Sorry about that. So to be without you again, is you know, him remembering that they broke up, got back together, broke up. Now he's just remembering all this stuff again. You'll fail without me again is just a pure statement of like ego and false self-worth. Two leaves fall two is visual imagery of like autumn leaves falling off of a tree, representing the two of them failing in their relationship to, you know, emotionally grow and satisfy one another and all that. I'll sail without you again, keeping it with the ocean theme of moving on and going past, and again and again and again and again as he beats himself up by remembering the same issues over and over and over again. Which leads us to song number 7. Probably the happiest sounding song on the whole album. Absolute banger of a track from Ninja Turtles 4 Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Sewer Surfing. Composed by Kazuhiko Uehara and Harumi Ueko. Absolute awesome song. I love the way that the AI, like it might be one of the most successful songs that the AI turned out just because of how well it ended up doing so many of the things that I wanted it to do with like callbacks and vocal performances and shouting when there should be shouting and all that kind of stuff. This guy screaming the words to the song. This is another one of those like quad, it's even the same word, right? Down, 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 and then something else like in Dirt Serpent. We had, where'd it go? Yeah, bedding down, the feather down, rolling down the cyber clown. This is very intentionally trying to mimic that sort of rhythmic pattern and you know, kind of keep everything really tightly knit together on the album. Sliding down the meltdown, face down in this half pipe full of poopy. All right, then there's some screaming and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is like, you know, the emotional plummeting of the song lyrically. So then the music has to be the happiest and most intense. And most bangeriest track. This track is an absolute banger. I just listen to it sometimes just because it's that great. Taking up this dust, taking in this air, has left me without trust, has left me feeling bare. Right? Same echo themes again. Breathing in the wall of dust when you're trying to catch up with somebody who's, you know, outpacing you. Trying to breathe, holding your head in your hands and simply trying to breathe in and out. Hello? Yes?
Keys. Do you have any keys for my truck?
For your truck?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can't find my keys. Can you? We borrow yours and get my truck back out of the way in the car. Oh, okay. You know where they are. Now that you're home, I can't find my other, so I left them. I thought upstairs, but I can't find them. So I'm still like, very much. Yeah. Have you, Grandma?
I'm not gonna edit that out. My grandmother just got home. Haven't seen her in a couple months. And she needed the keys to the truck. Where was I? Breathing in the dust. Right, holding your head in your hands, simply trying to breathe out the dust that you've left me covered in. Taking in this dust, breathing in all the dirt. It's left me without trust. Can't form normal, healthy relationships anymore. It's too emotionally trust broken and feeling bare. I feel bare even without actually having to be bare. More screaming. This is a line that I stole from one of my friends. I'm pretty sure he had a published poem with these lines in it, and I always really liked it. I think it was, like, in the poem, it was, how come today doesn't feel like yesterday's tomorrow? Right? And it's like, there is such an awesome, like, way of putting that in that context, where it's like, you know, tomorrow like feels like it's hopeful and feels like it's got you know, an unlimited potential. Like tomorrow feels like it could be anything. I found it. I found the hair that was in my eye. I got it. All right, tomorrow feels like it could have unlimited potential, but today never feels like it has unlimited potential. Today always just feels like today. It's like, how come today doesn't feel like yesterday's tomorrow? Right? Why can't this moment now feel like something good? Because you're trapped in your emotional seaweed, my friend. If you ever stood by me, if ever I took that road, that would be all I need. I must have had no place to go. You know, sort of continuing the theme of wandering. He can't remember, right? If she ever stood by him, it's always walking in dirt paths and all that kind of stuff. Always trying to keep up the distance between them. It's like they never just stood together. The sewer is where I belong. I'll go there with no pretense. The sewer is where I belong, so we can be together. I really like that, breaking the like rhythmic stanza, breaking the rhyming phrasing. Right. Also calling himself a piece of crap. Sewer is where I belong. I'm a piece of crap. But you're already in the sewer. I already put you there. I already flushed you away because you're a piece of crap. And I'm a piece of crap too. So let's go be pieces of crap in the sewer together. The sewer is where I belong, so we could be together. Just more broken, toxic, codependent relationship stuff. Yeah. So the obvious, I hope, but you know, hopefully it's not lost, but I'll vocalize it anyway. Sewer surfing is the name of the song, to reiterate. You know, going into the sewer is where I belong. What is a sewer if not a gigantic pipe for poop? It's a poopy pipe. That is the name of the song, the theme of this part of the album. Feeling like crap, acting like crap, considering himself a piece of crap. And that leads us to our ocean. Our ocean. Sounds beautiful, right? Sounds like something that they're going to share that's like, you know, what is our ocean? Our ocean is a reference, obviously, to this point I've talked 100 times already. More than an hour in. It's the distance between their hearts. It's an ocean wide, right? They're in completely different places in their relationship and all that kind of stuff. This comes from the video game Star Tropics on the original Nintendo Entertainment System in 1990. Our Ocean is based on the song Fortune Teller and Village, which is like just the happiest tropical ocean beach theme, just reweaving all that stuff over and over and over and over again. It starts with a spoken word poem, which I love that the AI does that when I want it to do that. It comes out very nice, very clean. Maybe my favorite song on the whole album. I absolutely love the way this one turned out. The music is catchy, the lyrics are great, perfectly hits with the emotional beat that I wanted to at this portion of the album. The sunset gleaming over our bodies on the beach, glitter upon the earthbound water where we tread, on a walk together by the purity of a falling sun, sand under our feet taking impressions of our recent past. Very flowery and poetic language to talk about walking on the beach at sunset, right? Sand under our feet, taking impressions of recent past, footprints, walking on a dirt path, right? Sunset gleaming in our bodies on the beach, glitter upon the earthbound water where we tread, on a walk together by the purity of a falling sun. This is a memory of the more specific stuff that happened on the beach that he is remembering. You're right here beside me, your silken hand grasping mine, like a shackling cuff. I want only to be free. Right? This is again like a triple meaning of him wanting to be free from his emotional turmoil, his wanting to be free of wanting to be back in the relationship and wanting to be free from her to be out of the relationship. Her silken hand, you know, she caught up to him. He's walking his dirt path, made it to the beach, and she caught up to him on the beach, grabbed his hand. They tried to work it out together. You're right here beside me, silken hand grasping mine. Your hand is like a shackling cuff. It's like being slave, chained to the wall. I only want to be free from you and your shackling cuff and your beautiful silky hands. Oh, I love your beautiful silky hands. They're so soft and nice. There is seaweed inside this dirt, right? There's emotional turmoil inside of all of the things that they do together. There's a pathway I cannot chart. Can't keep up. Can't chart the path across the ocean. There's a longing to fight this comfort. That's more directly going backwards in the relationship of like when they were together, he's comfortable but can't bring himself to like break the relationship. Like he's just too comfortable. There's a longing to fight this comfort, to be uncomfortable again because he knows it's bad and toxic. There's an ocean between our hearts. Sad. Right, then this again. Right here beside me, silken hand grasp my shackling cuff. There is an ocean between our hearts. Bum, 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 bum. Right, all the same themes. I don't need to hash on them over and over and over again. Even though that's what I've been doing for the last forever. Let's see. So, after our ocean, the relationship has been long over. He's tired of remembering it. He's tired of beating himself up. Whoops. Why? Why do you do this? It like loads. You can't see it because it's behind me, but it like loads and pushes it exactly into where I click on the thing to pause it, and then a different button is there. Eternal Cavern. You may have noticed that we go from Star Tropics. My friend is playing Conqueror's Blade. We go from Star Tropics to Star Tropics. That is very specific and very intentional. And the only time that it does this on the entire album, where it goes from one song from one video game into a different song from the same video game. I really wanted to celebrate Star Tropics. I absolutely love the game. It's super underrated. I've still never been able to beat it. It's a hard one. But, you know, its beach and ocean themes fit so perfectly into this story and all the stuff that I wanted to tie together. This song is very different from all the other ones tonally. This is like an electronic dance, dark synth banger track, but it used the melody from this in a way that I'm so satisfied with. It's absolutely awesome. This one is just sort of a retelling of the overarching sort of story, like the literal like stuff that happens to the guy, like the plot pointed list. Walking across a path of dirt, thinking of how we used to be, contemplating a retrovert. I want only to be free. Again, ending another stanza, grouping, whatever these are called, by saying I want only to be free, contemplating a retrovert. Like, should I go back to doing, like, should we revert back to the ways that we were before? All right, walking a dirt path, again, different, just reiteration of the same themes and another pathway that no one can chart. So like those two are very specific. That's, they're the two songs that are the same video game, unchartable pathway, walking on the dirt path, ocean between their hearts. There's much of the same lyrics spun into the same thematic universe of the same video game and the same sound profile, melodies, and all that kind of stuff. Pathway no one could chart. I've found the entrance to my mind, right? Again, another double meaning where you can replace the word mine, like a mine shaft, or like you're mining for diamonds, with your mind being like a cavern that you're stuck in inside your own head forever. A vast ocean between our hearts, an enshrined, confined, and empty mind. Right? Again, mind and mind can be, it's always both in this album. Right, so I found the entrance to my mind, an enshrined, confined, and empty mind. I love the way that turned out. I love the way it sounds. It hits super hard. And I don't think there's a lot to say about the lyrics because they just repeat. Like this one's like a techno song. It's just really bangery or whatever. This is actually a typo that ended up being better than what I wrote originally in this last little bit. My thoughts echo throughout time, right? Just no matter how much you remember something and you want to be free of that memory, you will remember it again. Sometimes the next day, sometimes an hour later, sometimes it's 10 years later, you'll walk down those same like paths of memory. My thoughts echo throughout time, reverberating within my lungs. Echoes form the cavern walls, an enshrined, confined, and empty mind. Freaking awesome. I love the way that these lyrics turned out. The reverberating within my lungs is a wink and a nod, an homage to the Gorillaz. I just straight up stole that off of the is that Glitter Freeze, I think, on Plastic Beach by the Gorillaz? Reverberating within my lungs. I think it's Glitter Freeze. Don't quote me on that, but I'm 99% sure it's on Plastic Beach, and I know it's the Gorillaz. And I'm like 80% sure it's on Glitter Freeze. Was the Glitter Freeze? Might be something. Anyway, so I just stole that line because I love it, and I figure I just wanted to reuse it. It also works super well with the feeling of having something reverberate inside your lungs, like bass, loud sounds, and being lost in your mind and being lost in a mine shaft that you're like trapped within, never being able to find your way out. An enshrined, confined, and empty mind. There's nothing to find in there. All the valuables have been mined out. Now you're just stuck in a cave. Which also, video games, this is you go into caves and explore that. But so it's a lot of these themes are video game based. Dirt path, oceans, caves. It's like every old video game had a the first level is you walk on a dirt path. At some point you end up at a beach. At some point you end up in an underground cave, mine, something. yeah, so just knitting all that stuff together again. I do want to say that the AI bugged out. So the AI bugged out and didn't read the word mine on like one of the last times that it plays like that part for the chorus, and it just hits like a freaking dump truck. It hits like a banger. It's so good. And enshrined, confined, and empty, and then just leaves it hanging, and it's like, oh, it's so good. So this was the typo. It's supposed to be echoes from the cavern walls, but echoes forming the cavern walls also makes sense, and I like it more now anyway. So don't even have to worry about that one. Echoes form the cavern walls. Like you have to make a sound to get the echoes off of the cavern walls to even see where you are, but you're still just lost in an enshrined, confined, and empty mind. Trapped in your own mind. Right, so now on to the song Endless Mine, which is the original pun because the name of the song is Endless Mine. Right? That was the whole spiel. So I just changed from Endless Mine to Endless Mind, and then intentionally worked that into a bunch of the other, lyrics and stuff. Because I did all these way out of order. It's like, as I decided I wanted to do stuff and come up with the album and make a story out of it and all that. Like I think the first one I said was My Head, and I think Dirt Serpent came after that, and like one of the last ones I made was Concrete Dam. But yeah, so anyway, the Endless Mine is an endless mine shaft in Sonic 3 where you're, running on a loop. It's one of the multiplayer stages, so it never ends. You never start, you never end. You're just in a mine and you run forever, and then it's like you did 6 laps, you win or whatever. And so I mentioned my friend and I send AI tracks back and forth to one another. This is very much inspired by, this was, I think, the second or third song that I made before I ever decided to make this into an album. So it goes here because it goes here like that, I pieced everything else around this, but this was one of the first ones that I made. Yeah, back in September 12th. Was that the same as the other one? No, Concrete Dam won't be. It was January 8th. Yeah, September 12th. So it was the same day. This was the first one that I made, I think, and then didn't mean to do that. Anyway, Endless Mine. So Endless Mine, one of my favorite songs from Sonic 3, absolute banger track. But this was kind of before everything else. So a lot of the story and stuff was kind of built up around this. And then at this point in the album, other stuff was added to like make it make sense here at the sort of emotional end point of the story. But a lot of the lyrics and stuff is based on conversations I had with that friend. We talked a lot about being the types of ideas where it's like you are fundamentally alone and always will be fundamentally alone inside your own head. Like you can't ever prove that anyone else exists. You can't ever prove that even you exist. And your mind is a solitary thing. No one will ever see it. No one will ever experience it. You are endlessly alone for eternity inside your own head, and nothing will ever change that. That's like the types of conversations that we had, about that topic and about that kind of stuff. So, you got your first layer of it being Sonic 3. You've got the second layer of that, of the me and my friend talking about like, how you're always alone inside your own mind. You've got the sort of placement of it within the album, the overarching story of the stuff that happens to the like characters in the album, but also just the emotional content and the sound of people listening to it. There's a lot of layers on this one. I can no longer make my own way through these trials like a shit buffet. I wish somebody could help me up. about to use another tired cliche. I don't know how much I need to explain of that. Like, right, that's kind of how I felt at the time. That's kind of, you know, the way that we were feeling in these old conversations. That's how this character feels at this point in the story. Like you can have all you can eat, but the only stuff to pick from is poopy. You can pick horse manure or dog crap or human feces. Like you can have as much as you want. You can eat all of it if you want, but you have to eat some of it. Otherwise, you can't make it through the trials. You can't make it on your own. You need help from other people. I'm trapped forever in the endless mine, alone forever within my mind. If only you could be here with me, I might be happy with you, confined. Yeah, so again, endless mine, being a mine shaft that you're walking through and you're lost in. Endless mind, just reliving the same painful memories over and over again, beating yourself up and, you know, sort of getting in your own way. If only you could be here with me, I might be happy with you, confined. There's a lot of different ways to interpret that, and I, you know, will find a new way every time I listen to it. But, you know, just generally like thinking about the previous relationship, kind of contemplating the retrovert of being able to go back and get back into that relationship, understanding that he probably wouldn't be happy, but I might be happy with you. I might be happy with you if we were forced to be together, if we were confined together, or if in some way you were allowed to see inside my mind and I wasn't, you know, alone inside my own mind, lost in the endless mine. The panic sets in, existential threat, trapped in a black box forever. Eternity spent, rolled in this net. I used to think I was clever. Run away with me, run away from me. This one is a kind of bit of a leftover from my previous 3 albums. That was me like emotionally processing and like doing a bunch of other, like, you know, these AI lyrics and stuff are kind of how I journal. You know, like I was saying before, like me and my therapist kind of figured out that like that's how I do that, apparently. And so it works super well at this point in the story, because he can't, you know, control himself. It's like, we should run away together, but it's probably safer if you just run away from me. Right? It's better for both of us for you to be stronger than me and actually leave me spending eternity rolled in this net, trapped in my black box forever. All right, then we go back to the chorus, and then the last little 3 lines here. Alone forever within my mind, together is the greatest lie. No sunlight will ever again shine. Right, and that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like to be trapped in the endless mind. Never to see sunlight again, alone forever within your mind. You'll never actually be together with anyone. That's a lie. You'll just be alone, 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 forever, forever, forever. And that takes us to the second to last song on the album, which is Stolen from Minecraft. It is C418 Hagstrom. One of the most beautiful songs ever written. Emotionally, the perfect content for this track called Soft Sad. The lyrics simply, it's okay. It's not that bad. I'm just soft sad. Just repeated and repeated and repeated, right? And you finally get to chew through that emotional content. You finally get to start the digestion process of understanding that, you know, for as much as you beat yourself up and, you know, you never thought you'd be able to get through the endless mind. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of fine. You know, it's like, it's okay. It's not that bad. I'm just soft sad, right? Not like real sad, not like a deep sad, not hard sad, just soft sad. And the final track on the album, again, back to Mario Party. Play a minigame, it's called, which is the same as this one. Not even just the same game, the exact same song, getting our final echo of again, again, again echo. Right? Lyrics are the same. I wish I could see your face again, just one last time again, so I could remember why I thought we'd never be apart. If only there weren't a strain again, just one more time, again, so I might think of a reason you'd break my heart. Once we used to wander together through the fields of hope and curiosity. Again, I hold my head in my hands and simply try to breathe out the dust you've left me covered in again. To be without you again, to fail without me again. 2 leaves fall, 2 again. I'll sail without you again and 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 again. Thanks for listening. Hour and a half. So did you get the whole story? I hope so. I'm pretty sure I reiterated the entire thing several times. But so, got a guy, falls in love, enters a codependent, toxic relationship, knows it's a bad idea to begin with, tries really hard, but, you know, ultimately she realizes that he's not, you know, able to keep up. She leaves him behind emotionally. They get in a bunch of fights and break up. He has, you know, conversations. They try and hash it out, but he keeps getting bored with the conversations because he doesn't want to change, and she needs him to, and he just can't do it. So he breaks up. He's walking along a dirt path, finds himself on the beach. She catches up to him on the beach, grabs him by the hand. They try to work it out together. They get back together one last time, but ultimately they fail at it again. And then he finds himself on the beach sometime later, remembering all of these stories, remembering all of the emotional content and the relationships that he has. As he's walking along the beach, he finds a sewer path. In my head, it's the like, I think it's Los Angeles. There's a bunch of places by the beach that, like, if the storm fronts like raise the water level, the sewer pipes will drain into the ocean, like directly into the beach. There's like open sewage pipes. So he's walking along the beach, goes into a sewer pipe, finds an old abandoned mine shaft, gets lost in the mine shaft, and is lost in the mine shaft, remembering his old relationships and wondering how he ended up there, and just wishing that he could see her face one last time. Right? And then it loops. Then they get back together. Again. And again and again, right? So yeah, that's the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Just one little, well, a couple things actually. So if I actually go, oh, I closed the window. If I go to my actual page here, and I pull up the playlist of Wonderflonium, listen to the YouTube one. This is the one that's in order and correct and all of that kind of stuff. You will notice that there's a couple songs. Tiny Baby Robot, Magatama, is not on the album. It did not make the cut because it is original. You know, it's AI or whatever. It's just based on my lyrics. And then this one is The Ballad of Simmons, Good Man, a song I wrote for my friend back when we started playing World of Warcraft together back in like 2008. I found it on my old laptop, so I just copied the lyrics into the AI and told it to make a song out of it. So those are awesome songs that you can also find just unlisted on my YouTube page or my Suno account. If you want to listen to those. I really like Tiny Baby Robot and Ballad of Simmons. It's kind of a joke. It didn't necessarily fit into the, story and the emotional content that I was trying to convey. And so I also have, I don't know how much of this, if I can even get it to come on screen without being annoying. So I'll put it above my head. So I ended up never using, so these are the tracks that I intended to have on the album, but couldn't find a place for, couldn't get the AI to work with, couldn't, just couldn't make it work for one reason or another. Mario Kart Wii, Maple Treeway, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Gonna Take You for a Ride, chicka chicka, bing, 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 bing. Mega Man X2, Bubble Crab, also the same as Duff McWhalen. Mega Man X1, Spark Mandrill, song's an absolute banger, absolutely deserves to be in the banger list, but just couldn't quite get it to work and fit in the context of the themes and the stories and everything else. Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy. The first Game Boy game with a Rumble Pack in it, I believe. I would put money on it. Pretty sure that's correct. The high score screen. I love that. It has just such a catchy bass line, bunch of good stuff. And then Earthworm Jim, Buttville, The Descent. Anyway, so this is me talking to my friend. This is the message or whatever. So those are all the songs that didn't make it on here. So if you want to check out some good old video game music in the same way that these ones are, you could check that out. Listen to those old songs. Have yourself a grand old time. Well, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. I don't know if or when I'll be doing anything like this again, but I really like this album. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you check it out. Have a good day. And I'll see you whenever I see you next. Bye.